goal penalty lead to allow Ivory Coast back into the AFCON 2015 finals, and eventually the Elephants won in a nerve-wracking 9-8 scoreline. Now, as much as Ghanaians have praised the gallant performance of the boys, there are still critical questions to find answers to. How is it that Ghana has played in 9 African Cup of Nations finals and won only 4? Egypt has won 7 out of 8 AFCON final appearances. Arch rivals Cote d'Ivoire. The journey to the finals was impressive, although an initial hiccup during the first match at the group stage. But the reality is also that despite the tears, we still need to do an introspection of the team. Where did they go wrong? What did they need to do to ensure they are able to win more finals? Let's get some reactions from some officials from the GFA, and then we also spoke to some of the players. Let's listen.
Performance that we put in the tournament, are you expected to get some more offers from bigger clubs, or are you still going to stay with?
I'm not really too worried about that at the minute, to be honest with you. Once I get back to the UK, I'll figure out what's going on with my career and go from there.
So looking forward to still maintaining your position in the Black Stars. Do you think this performance that you put out in this tournament grants you, your position in the Black Stars?
You know, it's down to the coach to select the team, and if he selects me again, I'll be prepared to deliver.
Okay. So your experience so far, how do you feel about the Black Star, the camp, the mood in camp, and performance of the team in general?
Yeah, as I said at the beginning, we done well to get how far we did, and the captain mentioned earlier on that our team, we've got a great team spirit and everyone working as one, and yeah, it showed in our performances.
All right. That's all.
Thank you.
No comments about penalty kicks. I don't want to talk about penalty kicks.
Do you expect you in the EPL with the kind of performance you put out in this tournament? Or are you still going to be in the AU?
I'm happy where I am right now. I'm under contract. I'm still under contract, and I'm doing so well for my club. Everybody is happy with my performance. But I haven't had any offers right now. No, it wasn't like last year that I had a lot of offers. But as time goes on, when you perform, definitely teams will be looking for your signature, and it doesn't happen right now, honestly. But I'm happy where I am right now, and I'm still focused on my job, and I'm doing well for my club, and that's the most important thing.
How do you look forward to coming back to the EPL?
I don't really know.
Right, Samojan and Kwesi Appiah there. We've got some more exclusives to share with you later on in the show. We'll be playing some interview we had with GFA President Kwesi Nyantakyi, and we also spoke to the Communications Director Sani Dara. But right now I have Nathaniel Arthur, Citizen Arthur, Joy Sports Editor. How are you, sir?
I'm great.
You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you. We try.
Shouldn't you be crying also?
Well, it's been a very tough 24 hours, being very honest. It's been a very tough 24 hours, considering that, we've all had to do a lot of hard work. And to crown all the things that we do is at least one positive story after all of these years of trying so hard to get there to the top. So it's been very difficult. I remember having to sit on radio last night and
do all the commentary.
Exactly, and having to do the post-match analysis and the post-match reactions. It wasn't easy trying to hold my voice up there and keep it there. It was tough.
But the Black Stars didn't perform poorly. You wouldn't say so.
No, they didn't. And this is what I keep saying. Nobody has any right to chastise the Black Stars for anything along the lines of... No, they have performed very, very well. Look.
But they couldn't win the cup.
They couldn't win the cup.
So for many people, they'll say, all the tears, bring us the cup and stop crying.
Many other teams in the world perform better than others and are not able to win the cup. There are so many other examples all over the world. at the last...
give us some examples.
Let's look at the last 2 editions of the AFCON tournament, for instance. I mean, Zambia were not so out of this world, but eventually managed to get the job done, and they won the tournament. You understand me? So it is not necessarily about who is able to score 5 goals per game or not. It's the person who gets the job done. And the Black Stars started on a jerky note and did a major story of recovery game after game until the final. And for me, that is what we should be looking to build on.
But shouldn't we also be looking at the fact that Ghana has played 9 AFCON finals and they won only 4? Only 4. Egypt, if we compare to Egypt
nobody
had 8 appearances and they won 7. So
yes,
perhaps we have something.
Cote d'Ivoire
something
played in 4, they've won 2. There is no absolutely every right for anybody to do that kind of analysis and say...
coach said that
exactly,
they have a superior mental attitude against Ghana.
Definitely, and I would agree with that because, for instance, during the penalty shootout session, I looked at the demeanor of the goalkeeper, Razak Brahima, and I said to myself, this guy needs to learn something from Kennedy Mwene of Zambia. He needs to learn something from Kidiaba of DR Congo.
And what is
Kidiaba, during the penalty shootout session, if we have the tape and we could have rolled it here, we would have done it, where he just flipped over and jumped a few times. Any footballer who's going up against this guy one-on-one will say, hey, what's this guy up to? In the same way, Kennedy Mwene at the 2012 final in Equatorial Guinea and Gabon did the same thing against Didier Drogba.
That is a goalkeeper strategy.
Wait,
we don't have one.
That is why I'm saying, and you made a point about mental toughness.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's about time we have started looking at the support services within the Black Stars team. If we want to go forward and if we want to achieve the results, then we should take the manuscripts of the likes of Germany, who sat back and looked at the way their football was going and decided that, no, we want to start playing attacking football as a nation. And this was something that was started by Jürgen Klinsmann when he was just about leaving as head coach of Germany. And today, if Germany is telling a success story at the World Cup, then it is because they implemented that from the academies all the way through to all the tiers of football.
A strategy, that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
And
so,
we don't have any strategy.
Well, we do not, it has not been amplified. If we do, we've not amplified it. For instance, the policy about who coaches the Black Stars. Have we opened it up? Is it a national policy? Is it a policy of the FA that we've opened up so that we have both locals and expatriates coming in at any time when the opportunity is open? Are we opening it up only to our own, which is the indigenous Ghanaian coaches? If we are, what are the plans we're putting in place to ensure that these people are adequately trained and have added enough value to themselves to stand up and face all of the big names and faces
if you were
all over the world?
Black Stars coach, what would you have done different?
I think once again, like I said,
let's talk.
Tactics. Let's do a lot in terms of investing in the backroom staff. That is one thing that many successful teams over the world have done. Now, let's look at the area of the team psychologist, for instance. We all know that Professor Minta is not necessarily a specialist specialist psychologist.
Okay, he's not a clinical
psychologist. I spoke to the first psychologist who sent the Black Stars to the World Cup, Dr. Yao Mfojo, and he said this clearly, and this was in the lead up to the troubles in Brazil. He said it clearly that, look, there is trouble coming. And I didn't get him at that point until we saw everything come up and splash in our faces.
And what was that trouble he was
looking at it from a professional eye. I am looking at a time when the Black Stars can have a team of at least 3 or 4 psychologists when we're going for a tournament. That we have a team of at least 4 physiotherapists
did Cote d'Ivoire have 3 psychologists and physios?
Well, they may not necessarily, but this is the point we're making. Teams need a lot of work to be done on them before they embark on major assignments such as these. So that if we had done a thorough psychoanalysis of each player, would know that this is the person who can easily crumble when it comes to the crunch. Therefore, rest him. This is the person who can be able to, irrespective of all the intimidation around, stand up and take this penalty kick when it matters most. Those are the kinds of things we're looking at. The reason why we need those numbers, not in terms of quantity, but qualitatively, we need those numbers so that we can take care of all aspects of our football. Handling a national team is just not the surface value that we see today. It is a total job, And right now, the only challenge that the FA has is the finances, because we are not as endowed financially as Germany will be to have a backroom staff of about 30 people who are doing different things at different times.
So
look at the appointment of the video analyst, for instance. We realize that it has done a great deal of good to the Black Stars, and that is exactly what we're talking about. So that when you're going into a game, you know that if you pass the ball more than once, and this player in this team is marking you, then there's a very high possibility that on the third attempt he can get you, because the analysis that has been done on the player indicates that anytime he's about to challenge you or anytime he's marking you and you release the ball to another player and you do that more than once, he can get you on the second attempt. Football has gone beyond just sitting back and switching players left, right, and center.
Like Avram Grant did. Did you think that Avram Grant brought anything on board? I mean, I felt that this was a team which was already in place.
Thank you.
And he used what is at his disposal to get to the final. And I didn't see his role when it was time to do proper selection for those who are to take the
let me tell you the thing with coaches.
If you have Cote d'Ivoire coming too behind
let me tell you the thing with coaches, Steve.
You
do not necessarily need to be shouting around or throwing your arms up in the air for everybody to see that you are doing your work. Everybody has the way they go about their work. You remember Coach Hervé Renard's demeanor during the penalty shootout. Somebody could have sat back and said, "What is happening? You've lost your first 2 kicks. Why are you just standing in one corner and not doing anything?" But everybody has their own style. Nobody should take anything away from Coach Avram Grant, when it comes to what he's been able to do for the Black Stars.
What has he been able to do?
Considering that he had a very short period of time and he had a crop of players whom he was not necessarily used to, I think that we need to give him some credit. He was able to do the shuffling and the substitutions very, very well for the remainder of the tournament, from day one all the way up to the end.
Day one wasn't so good.
When it went so good. So at least we should give him some credit. The ability to read the game and to know who to bring in. Of course, in the final game, we all had our reservations about how things went. For instance, there were those who thought that Jordan Ayew should have been brought on earlier because Asamoah Gyan wasn't the regular Asamoah Gyan we all know. That, for instance, that you probably could have even switched the goalkeeper if you knew very well that this is not the kind of goalkeeper who could stand in the thick of a pulsating penalty shootout. So that you bring on the likes of Fatah Dada, who could just go and put up a certain look on his face
and scare people away.
And scare the opposition away. And it doesn't matter sometimes when you put up these antics. It can scare almighty Didier Drogba, and we saw that in the 2012 final. So for me, let's give the credit where it is due, but there is work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. Let's invest in the support services of the Black Stars team. Let us strengthen the people who scout and who monitor the players abroad. Because look, the team or whoever is in charge of scouting and doing all of this nosing around has done a good job. If you look at the likes of Daniel Amate and Kwesi Appiah, they for now represent the future crop of stars who will man the Black Stars team in the next 2 or 3 years. So for me, that is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
What we need to do going forward is we need to do more to know these players better.
I'll return to you so we discuss the more that we need to do. But let's get onto the telephone line now and speak to Ni Odate Ilamte, who is Ghana's an ex-Ghana international. We're trying to raise him on the telephone. But we had a couple of interviews with the GFA president, Kwesi Nyantakyi, who said that Avram Grant performed exceedingly well. Nat, do you share the view of Nyantakyi that Avram Grant performed exceedingly well?
To a large extent, I do, because he was told to go and do well. Do well is very vague.
But do well is vague. It's not
English.
A target,
it's English. It's English. Do well could mean go and win the trophy, and do well could mean if you go to the third game in the group stage and you are kicked out, it's fine. You understand me? But for me, considering that as a nation we did not even have any belief in this team, and the man stood up from a jerky start and was able to put up these massive performances, that is where I believe we should give him the credit. So for me, I think that he's done a great job, but in all of that, let's also know that there is even bigger work to do, because now, as we go into planning for 2017, the target should be the trophy and nothing else. Because at this stage, we're also going on to a third attempt after the win in 1982.
Right.
Just like Cote d'Ivoire have gone on their third attempt and have won. So going into 2017, the focus, no matter how difficult it will be for the Black Stars, will be go and win.
And do you think this is achievable?
Very much so, and to
considering the crop of players we have.
You see, a lot can happen in 2 years. You could lose your touchwood, you could lose the spine of your team within that 2 year period. There's also a possibility that you could even have a glut such that you will not be able to, you have a selection headache. It could happen either way.
Either way.
For me, what is important is that we keep the focus. We pray that all of these talents that we've been able to discover get the opportunities.
Prayer helps.
It definitely does. It definitely does. Get the opportunity to play regularly in these leagues so that they get good enough form and they're able to develop their match temperament and they're able to develop in terms of form as well. When it happens like that, it goes to help Ghana in the long run and in the eventual scheme of things. Look at a player like Harrison Afful. The reason why we're benefiting from Harrison Afful today is that the player has had massive experience playing in the CAF Champions League season after season for the last 5 seasons or so, and the man has even won it, gone to the final, and even tried and failed on 1 or 2 attempts thereabouts. So you see, the player has gained massive experience. So when it comes to the African game, he is now becoming an authority, and he's becoming an experienced brain playing on the pitch for Ghana. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, so let me shift a bit and talk about the emotions that were expressed. Did I use typical emotions and his tears all over the place is global news now.
Let me tell you something about Dede Ayew. Many people may not have noticed, but the player is very, very passionate when it comes to playing for the national team. Forget his, ambitions to wanting to lead the team, which is very normal in any, endeavor such as this. But for me, the player is very, very passionate about playing for the Black Stars. It shows in the way he approaches game after game. I had a conversation with Dede Ayew in the year before they took part in the very successful campaign at the 2009 World Cup, Under 20 World Cup. I sat with him at his father's residence in East Legon, and I said to him, Dede, I am one of the people who criticized Claude Leroy when he introduced you in the 2008 Africa Cup of Nations. And guess what Dede told me? Dede said, you know something, Ato, I can play. I can play the game. And not too long after that, this young man went to the African tournament, the Under 20 tournament in Rwanda, won it with the boys, inspired them. They got a point, even got to a point when he had to pay bonuses with his own personal cash. He had to pre-finance. You know, he rallied the boys around and they were able to focus and achieve Africa. After that, they went and conquered the world, and that was a record for Ghana. It was a record for Africa at that tournament. And guess what? He's been a fabulous, revelation for Ghana since.
I'll pause here. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back and we will interrogate the issues more. Today's big story is brought to you by Lifeline Properties, affordable, quality, and comfortable housing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to today's big story. Earlier we spoke to the Director of Communications at the GFA, Ibrahim Sani Dara. Let's hear him.
He says Avram Grant has performed exceedingly well. Now, but most people are asking, where is the trophy if you say you've performed exceedingly well? Where is the trophy?
Well, the trophy is in Ivory Coast. But he didn't go with the mandate of winning the trophy, did he? He didn't. We all knew the standard of the team before we left. Before we left for the competition, the Ghana national team was conceding goals by every match. By every match, you were conceding goals. So you look at the positives. We knew where the team was. We knew the standard of the team. It was the reason why the FA president said he had to go and do well. You can't give a team to the coach 6 weeks before a tournament, and a team that was completely being rebuilt, to expect the team to go and win the trophy against teams that were highly ranked more than you. Even in our own group, we're the 3rd ranked team. Algeria were ahead of us, Senegal were ahead of us in the FIFA ranking, and even South Africa, who we were ahead of in the FIFA ranking, eliminated the previous champions, Nigeria. Now that presented a very, very hard task for the Black Stars, yet they went there and did well and got to the final. I think that kudos must be given to the team. Yes, the ultimate aim is to win the trophy, but if you don't win the trophy, it doesn't mean that you did not perform to expectation. It's the reason why the vice president of this country himself came to meet the team. It's the reason why hundreds and hundreds of Ghanaians came here to meet the team. And that shows that they were satisfied with the progress that has been made. Unfortunately, yes, we wanted to win the trophy. It showed the commitment of the players on the field against an Ivory Coast side filled with players, world-class players. Even the standards of our players cannot compare with Yaya Toure, Kolo Toure, Gervinho, Wilfred Bonny. All of these players are world-class names, we all know. If you ask how many players in our team, if you mention Andre Ayew and Asamoah Gyan, finish, who else? So if you say that you play against them and you had them on the back foot for 90 minutes, you would want to praise the boys for a good job done.
Right. Welcome back. Now, he said we should give kudos to the boys.
Definitely.
You share the same view also.
Before the game, the typical analysis or the regular analysis was we have to watch Gervinho, we have to watch Wilfred Bonny, and we have to watch Yaya Toure. Tell me very honestly, if you watch the game, tell me very honestly if you think that those players were as dangerous as you'd see them on a regular day.
No.
Look,
because they were neutralized?
They were neutralized. Exactly the point. Look, Gervinho on a regular day with all the speed that he has. Look at the way, Harrison Afful handled him. Harrison Afful is not the tallest player you can get. He's not the biggest. He's not the most intimidating when it comes to physical presence. But the boys have done a good job. And for me, that is it. For me, the focus is drawing the positives out of what we've been able to do. It's not to say that we do not have issues when it comes to our football development and the plan going forward. That's the reason why I'm saying that the FA must come out, tell us that after 2015, this is the focus. X or Y is the focus. And we're working towards it so that we can take them to task when those targets of X and Y are not achieved.
You said that there's more to be done. Let's enumerate a few before we close. What needs to be done to ensure that the next time Black Star goes to the AFCON finals, they bring home the cup?
Let's look at a proper succession plan in all aspects of the game. Look at the spine of the game, which is goalkeeping, the central defense, the midfield, and the person spearheading the attack. That line that runs, that invisible line that runs through the starting 11 of the team must be strengthened. That was the strength that the Black Stars team of 1992 had. The reason why to date we're still talking about them and have given them that accolade of the best or finest team that did not win the Africa Cup of Nations or play at the World Cup. So for me, I think that we need to sit back and do proper department by department analysis of the game, get a very, very good, crop of players to fill in all of these spaces.
But you think that we have a solid team, right? I mean, we shouldn't be tinkering with the team we have.
We do, but the thing is we have many other options lurking around. Let's all not forget that we have the likes of good old Kweju Asamoah. I know many have forgotten about him at this time because of the performance that the team put up. We have the likes of Jerry Akaminku, who's now recovering from injury and has started playing games bit by bit. We've got players all over the country. We've got good old Sule Montari, who is just an apology away from returning to the Black Stars team. All of these things are food for thought. And the technical team must sit back and say, what is going to be our posture when we are confronted with a situation where we have X number of players where we may be confused as to who to put in and who to put out. Because truth of the matter is that when you're going for major tournaments like these, under 25 is the number that you are going to send.
Right, Nathaniel, let's listen to Kwesi Nyantakyi, who spoke to us earlier in an interview with Joy News.
In fact, before we went for the tournament, we said we expected the coach to do well. I can confirm to you that the opinion that we have formed after this competition is that he has done exceedingly well. Well, we can't give the credit to the coach alone. The coach did his job. The technical team also did their job. The players also deserve our tons of commendation. They were very disciplined, very committed, and very dedicated to the national cause, and that showed on the field of play. Apart from all these inputs that were made to the performance of the team, I'd like here to place on record the support that the government of Ghana extended the team. Personally, His Excellency the President, His Excellency the Vice President, the Minister for Youth and Sports, who spent the entire time with the team throughout the duration of the tournament, the Chief of Staff who came to motivate the team, and other ministers of state and government officials. We would like to thank you very much for this. We may not have won the trophy, but the statistics showed clearly that Ghana was the best team in this tournament. In fact, just before we left, I had a chat with the technical study group of CAF, and they confirmed to me that Ghana was the best team in this tournament. When it comes to a penalty shootout, you all agree with me that it has nothing to do with merits. It might be luck. On that fateful Sunday evening, we were just unlucky. And so we can't blame any individual for our failure to annex this trophy. It is just what fate has decided for us. Let's enhance our prayers. Maybe next time we'll be luckier and we'll be able to bring this trophy. Thank you very much to all of you, and may God bless.
Right, Kwesi Nyantakyi, we were trying to get onto the telephone line, Neo Date Lamte, but we couldn't raise him. He didn't pick up. So, Nathaniel, your final word.
The Africa Cup of Nations has been decided through the penalty shootout eight times.
It's not the fairest, right?
It's been decided 8 times. Whether or not it's not fair is not a discussion for today. It's been decided 8 times. The first time it happened in the history of the Africa Cup of Nations was in 1982 when Ghana won our very last one. Ghana can be an authority or a major powerhouse when it comes to deciding tournaments from the penalty shootout. We need to go back and start working on it. Just like I referred to Germany, who decided that they wanted to change the strategy of their football into attacking football.
That's what we need.
There is work to be done. Let's not, let's not wallow too much in the pain and the anguish. Let's quickly stand up and move ahead, because 2017 may be far away, but it's just a snap of the finger away. We can do it,
Nathaniel.
And it is very, very possible. The Black Stars can get that 5th title. I believe very strongly in that, but we need to plan and execute.
Plan and execute. Nathaniel Ato, Joy Sports editor. My name is Stephen Enti, and thanks for staying with us on today's Big Story. We'll be right back with an interactive segment. Do stay.